we forget about ourselves.
We're nurturers.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have to take care of ourselves so we can take care of other people.
So good.
Speak Easy Studios. Speak and be heard.
Welcome to the studio at 1201, where we are bringing you interesting conversations with entrepreneurs, creatives, leaders, and world changers to impact and inspire. Let's connect! So make sure to subscribe, rate, and review with all the stars. And most importantly, remember, you belong here. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Conversations with. We are so glad you're joining us. My name is Jeanette Brown, and I am honored to be partnered with the incredible Kelly Olive. Say hey, Kelly.
Hi. I'm more honored. I mean,
Stop
I'm
it.
going to
Come on,
one-up you.
stop it.
I'm going to one-up you.
Well, not only am I honored to be joined by you, Kel, but also we have an amazing guest. A lot of cool things in her bio, if you will. Not only does she work at the law offices of James Hogan, but she has an incredible family story and background, and the passions that she has. We're going to dive into some of those. So, Amy O'Neill, welcome to the podcast.
Yes, we are so happy to have you. And I love what you said, because we are more than what we do for our paycheck. And I know it's a passion for you to do what you do for the Hogan legal team. But at the same time, we are so much more than that. So we're looking forward to learning more about Amy O'Neill and everybody else who's listening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So can you tell us just a little bit about yourself?
Okay. Well, my name is Amy O'Neill, and I have been in the legal industry for 25 years and counting. I have 5 children.
You were 5 when you stared.
Yeah,
then.
yeah,
Right,
exactly.
okay.
Yeah, young protege, yeah. So, yes, I have 5 children.
5 babies.
Yes, well, yeah.
Not so much
Not
babies.
so much. But my oldest is 21. I have a 19-year-old, a 16-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 5-month-old son. So
That's exciting.
Yeah, very exciting. So it's a little bit about me, I guess.
A little boy is going to be so spoiled.
He is already. He's a dreamboat. He's loved. He does everything with me, his sisters. Like, he's a lover already.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
How on earth do you balance that? Having the family and having the business?
It's interesting because I get asked that a lot.
Yeah.
And it's not like I have an answer to it immediately. You know what I mean? It's just something that I've always done since my 20s because I had kids. I was married young, had kids young, and I've just been kind of doing this thing, and I'm a creature of habit. So routine is a big deal for me. So I'm just so used to that. Balancing the work and the family life and, also carving out some time for self-care, although that's something that I learned more in my 30s, I would say, the importance of that.
It is. It's so important. And being a creature of habit, there's so much positive. As a person who's not so much a creature of habit, that I'm working on being more of a creature of habit. Maybe that's not the right term, but, to have things run very efficiently, it really it allows you to have more time to do those fun things and those quality things with your kids.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so, because you're a busy mom, you're a busy business partner, but you're also very involved in your community. Tell us a little bit about that.
So throughout the years and throughout my career at different times, different phases of my life, I've helped raise money and awareness for the Lupus Foundation. My niece, she has an aggressive form of lupus, and she was essentially like my first daughter before I had kids. And excuse me, so she's near and dear to my heart. I've also raised some money for breast cancer awareness for many years, actually, going back into the 90s. And love serving autism. That's also something that speaks to me. I don't necessarily have anybody in the family that is autistic. It's just my heart is drawn towards these children,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So I try to carve out some time for them, and then more, recently becoming more active in Rotary, which is a club that pretty much is all over the community. And so that kind of helps me rein it in a little bit to be a little bit more organized, because it's important to find that balance, because sometimes, you're doing too much or you're on too many committees, and, you have to know when, okay, this is for me, this is in my direction, or I can really give my time efficiently to this organization. So Rotary kind of helps me to kind of feel like I'm giving more back and helping, many more people in the community that way.
A greater ROI.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was reading your bio and I was wondering that. I'm like, how does she do all these things? It is amazing.
It would be a challenge to do it all at once.
Yes.
I mean, because when you're serving on one committee, that's almost a full-time job. It's amazing, what it takes out of you. But at the same time, when you have that heart for that type of service, it definitely comes naturally. But, there are still challenges. And that's where you just have to kind of say, okay, can I do this? Can I give the time that I need to dedicate to this particular, event? And so again, Rotary is helping me to kind of stay a little bit more organized and be more involved and kind of leave my footprint in many other places.
I have to ask, so you have a 5-month-old son, right? So does life look a little different now as opposed to, maybe a year ago? Maybe you had more time and with all your other kids kind of grown up.
Yeah, it's a good question. And, before my son, I would think, I kind of always knew I would have another one. I just didn't know when that timing would be, so that's, it's all for God to determine. But the timing and when it did happen was interesting in my life, because I kind of was like, all right, I'm in my 40s. My kids are grown. It's definitely a lot easier. I can come and go as I please. I've already set that foundation for my girls. But now having my son, I couldn't imagine a life without him. I am madly
beautiful.
in love with this kid, and God knew what I needed before I knew what I needed. So this is my little man, and I wouldn't want a life without him. So kind of going forward presents, a few more challenges in the sense of time, but you have to manage that. And I think over the years and raising kids for so long, you kind of learn to manage that a little bit more efficiently.
And I think she gets a little bit of help from some of her older kids
sure.
too. What a benefit that is.
For sure.
Because I think they're about as smitten as you are. And so her older kids get it's a family affair.
Absolutely. Especially with my 21-year-old. She basically says that she's second mom, and she is in a lot of ways. So it's her and I tag teaming throughout the day, and she loves him just as much as I do. And it's funny because we go around calling him son all day, and it's like, oh son, and he's going to grow up thinking his name is Son. He's got a name. So he's essentially our son.
Well, let's talk a little bit about some of the other things in your life. So you're great at what you do. You've done, been a paralegal for so long. You and James are a great team. And then you've got your family life. But your oldest daughter, she was presenting some physical issues that you were trying to deal with when she was young, right?
Right.
And that led you down another path. Forget service, forget work, forget family. Now we're on to nutrition.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So my daughter, my oldest, she's 21. She was born with a lot of gut issues. So at the time, we couldn't figure out exactly what was going on. So it was just like an ongoing problem for many years. So when she was about between 5 and 8, we started somewhat getting some more answers because, her condition was becoming more and more chronic. But what happened is they wanted to continue like prescribing medication. Oh, here's this medication, take this for that. Oh, here's another one. And ultimately to where she ended up being anywhere between 25 to 27 pills a day. A day.
Wow.
And
For
still
at the oldest 7-year-old.
it was terrible, and still couldn't get out of the bed, still really couldn't eat things, and she was, really just, in poor health. I mean, could you imagine just kind of taking medication, not being able to eat, and you can't really focus and move. And this was a kid who was very active, so it was heartbreaking as a parent to see that.
Without a doubt.
So I basically I was pregnant with my 10-year-old now, and I said, you know what? And I was working. I'm like, I've got to go back to school. Like, I have a career, I can support my family, but if I'm seeing my family suffer in a way, and I'm not really getting answers with doctors, I, as a mother, have to take the bull by the horn and figure this out. So I went and studied nutrition to kind of help understand the body and, how nutrition affects the body and the changes that you can make with proper nutrition. And that's what we did. So little by little, I started creating recipes and meal plans and foods that would help her because, having her go on a formula diet when she's, 8 years old was unreasonable.
Yeah.
Having her on all of these pills was unreasonable, and not having, still the comfort to get out of bed or the motivation to kind of be a child. Mm-hmm. So I went to school, just kind of soaked up as much knowledge and information as I could, and then brought it home. So then I would prepare meals, kind of experiment, play around with different ingredients. And we're talking, this was a time, 11, 12 years ago, there wasn't as much available on the market as there is now.
That's for sure.
Everything, and literally everything was from scratch. Like, I can say I cook from scratch now, but it's definitely easier because, I can get some chickpea pasta at the local, Whole Foods or whatever, and that's easy. But, 12 years ago, I couldn't do that. So over time, we were able to one by one eliminate medication entirely. So it wasn't until about 2017 that she was completely off of medication altogether. And she's been med-free since, and living, and thriving and kind of living a normal life. She's a very strong individual, because when you think of a human being who wants to, say, go on a diet and lose some weight, it's hard for us to stay motivated and to find the discipline every day to do that day in and day out. But she finds that discipline within herself at such a young age to eat properly, because she knows that it fuels her body and it helps her to feel good every day, and it helps her to thrive. So that's where we are, and she's doing great.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's incredible. What is her favorite food now?
Oh my gosh, this girl eats like a horse. And and it's amazing because
That's amazing.
She has gastroparesis, which is also paralysis of the internal nerves that push the food through the digestive tract.
Oh my goodness.
So we're also battling with that. So, but it's, again, finding the right foods for her. So, she loves a good avocado toast. She loves when I make her what I call a taco mac and cheese, which is kind of like, if you think of Hamburger Helper, something like that. But,
But a healthy version.
But it's a very healthy version, she loves that. There's so many different things, like a curry chicken and rice. She just devours.
Yes.
But the girl can throw it back, and it's amazing. But as long as she drinks her water, and, she's good. Like, she can process it. It'll take, her body takes 4 hours to digest, when ours is just like 30 minutes to move from one to the next. And, but, she's thriving. She's eating well, loving life.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
I tell you, I think it's so easy in our easy culture, where everything is getting easier and easier for people to have reasons not to thrive, or reasons not to overcome those obstacles. And how amazing it is that, one, as a mom, you helped her overcome those obstacles. And then as her own self, as an individual, she carried that on because she learned it.
Absolutely.
And I know that we're not to takeaways yet, but I'm going to go away with a takeaway that nothing can, whatever's going to stop you will stop you, but it doesn't have to.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, it's so important to find a way.
Snaps. Poet snaps.
For sure. And, I'm so proud of her, for all of the things that she's overcome, really, in her life, because her journey she doesn't have the typical journey of a 21-year-old. She didn't have the typical journey as a teenager. She has invisible illnesses. So people look at her and think, oh, she's healthy. Oh, you're well. What's wrong with you? And so they don't understand that, wait a second, she's battling a lot of things in her life, and she's doing it with a smile on her face, and she's getting through it. So I am very proud of her.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is amazing. What are some of the things, what drives you? What drove you to want to get into law? What drove you to want to be so helpful in the community?
So for me, I'm an empath. I'm very compassionate. I like to give back. I love being a mother. Like I would dream as a little girl just growing up and becoming a mom. Like it was like what I wanted to do, the number one thing. And when I was younger, people would say, oh, well, what defines you as a person? Which is weird because you have to look more inward and think more about yourself. And I would say, well, I'm a mom. Like to me, like that's the greatest achievement in my life. And it still is. But there's so many more things to that, so many more areas of, trying to set an example. But I would say that my children definitely drive me because they look up to me and I want to set that example. I don't want to just say, oh, this is how you should do it and then live a different way. I want to pretty much live my life by example. Like if they know what they're going to need to do if they come into a situation where, there's a certain hardship in their life, they're going to, well, this is what mom overcame this or mom overcame that. And they're going to know what to do, just from my example. Yeah. So it's important to me that I am who I am and the best version of myself for them.
That's really powerful.
Yeah.
It's generational.
Absolutely.
Because then that'll affect the next generation behind them. Yeah. So good.
For the future, what does future Amy have in store? What are some dreams?
Probably traveling a little bit more, still working, probably a little more remotely. No, I have the best job ever and the most supportive team, really. And James is amazing. I really couldn't have asked for a better partner, really, in my business life, in my career, than with him. But so I say for the future, it's really just impacting more lives and living life, enjoying each day, not taking it for granted because, as we get older, age is something that I really appreciate, and I actually have a birthday right around the corner and I'm so excited about it.
Exciting.
Thank you. Yeah, I know. Not because I have plans, because I don't have plans yet, which Kelly, we need to talk.
Okay.
But because I'm having this opportunity, to continue living and setting an example for others and impacting lives. And as I continue to grow in age, hopefully there's going to be so many other people around the world that, I'm going to help make a difference with. And whether it's through myself or groups and organizations that I'm involved with or my children, whatever it is, I'm hoping to be part of that change.
Yeah. So you've done so much in the community, in all these different things. Is there a story or a moment that really stands out to you of like, wow, like seeing the difference that you've made?
Gosh, it's so hard.
It is.
To really think back.
I mean, while you're thinking, I would say probably from the stories I've heard, what you just told us about your daughter, you made a huge impact and difference in her life, which is amazing by taking that time to learn how to help her.
That's huge.
Yeah, it's huge.
I think I would have to agree. That's probably the biggest impact that I've probably seen more in my personal life, as well as with my niece, Shannon, who has lupus, because that, studying nutrition was also for her as well. So in the change that I was able to kind of implement and help on their journey, to help them make better choices and understand the certain choices that they were making that, gave them a better quality of life. So to me, I think that would probably be, monumental.
I love that because there's so many people who like to help in the community, but they almost kind of put their family on the back burner, and it's just so sad. So being able to positively affect your family, which in turn helps you to affect other things and other arenas. I think what I'm kind of hearing, like through a thread throughout this whole conversation, is when you can find your purpose and your passion, which you did, and then you can find where you fit, which is what you did with your work.
Right.
And with your, like, finding Rotary. You're like, okay, I helped with lupus, I helped with this, I helped with that. And it was all great. But when I found Rotary, that kind of brought it all together. So you could be more effective. So when you find your purpose and your passion and where you fit, then you're able to really make a big difference.
Absolutely. I agree 100% with that. Yeah. And, it's important to have a good support system and a great team because, you can't do it alone.
Right.
And for me, throughout the years, my support really has been my kids. even when they were younger, because they were, in a way, driving me in a way that they didn't understand at that time. And even they still continue to do that. And, my daughter Anya, she's in FAU, and she's still finishing up her first year at university, but she was dual enrolled in high school. She's been my athlete. So since she was 7, team sports was, that was her focus.
Yeah.
And so, I would encourage her to do that. She did a lot of different sports throughout her, her school life. And I think that helped as well to motivate and continue her purpose in life and her drive and her passion, because she just hits the ground running.
Yes.
And a lot of that, it takes a lot of, work on our side as a parent to support our, the drive in your kids, because they're all different. They're not all the same. And, and you don't want to give more to one and not the other. You have to find that balance when you have as many as I do to kind of support them all. So, yeah.
Wow. Well, so you're writing a book.
So, yes.
Or you're putting together a book.
I'm putting, and
Tell us
this
about
is,
this.
well, gosh, this has been like years in the making.
Hey, that makes the best recipes.
It does. And, it's interesting because I think more about it now, and how my recipes have changed and how they've evolved and how they've gotten easier and more creative and fun and tasty. And my daughter, Ebony, she's like, Mom, we got to get this book up and going. And I say to her, she's got this really nice camera. I say, well, okay, well, how about we do this together?
Yeah.
You
Love
can
it.
do the photography. And then, and then I can put the recipes together. And, for her, it's so important to her that I put this book out for herself. She's like, this is going to help me. This is going to help, when she adopts kids, this is going to help, so many people. I need you to do this. And okay. So now I'm trying to motivate her to do the photography.
That's amazing.
So we can kind of really wrap it up. But I just have so many recipes that I've been storing and creating. And so the work is there. I have to bring it all together.
That is incredible.
It is. I love it when you bring people along with you.
You were food blogging before food
Yeah.
blogging was a thing.
Yeah, I was. I absolutely. It's funny because when Allergy Friendly Meals, when I created that page and I was just uploading content, and it wasn't like using special cameras or awesome lighting. It was just, I don't know. It's just
You were just doing it.
normal. Yeah. Well, I would have Udi's gluten-free on my page commenting on my stuff. I would have like all these other, allergy-friendly big companies on my page, liking my posts.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, this is incredible. Like I could really take this somewhere. But again, you have to find the balance. So I couldn't give my all to this page to create the content to keep it going. And then over the years, then you would see Tasty pop up, and Udi's is, now they're doing their own little videos. And I think it's wonderful because it helps so many people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was definitely doing that before,
was
the
popular.
food. Yes.
I cannot imagine. That might be an angle, is some people really want to go completely scratch. And some people need to. And like maybe not evolving your recipes and just, say, hey, if you don't want to go buy chickpea pasta because maybe there's an ingredient in there that you don't even know how to pronounce,
Right.
here's how you can do it. Those kind of things. But
Yeah.
anyway, just a thought.
Absolutely. It's true. Well, some people can't do legumes, so then the chickpeas would be out because the pasta I use anyways, it's like when I have my little cheats, it's very simple ingredients, which is still kind of nice. So
Yeah.
it makes things very quick, but I definitely like that angle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because other people aren't. So,
For sure.
yeah.
And then throughout the cookbook, too, I thought with my kids, I want little images of them.
that's great.
This is my favorite meal and this is why. Just like with little
That's so
inserts
sweet.
of like information about us as a family. And I think that it would personalize it even more than just opening up a book and seeing recipes, which is also
yeah.
great. But you're going to find out about us as a family,
Yeah.
and why.
Like Chip and Joanna Gaines, their cookbooks. I don't know if you have any of theirs.
I don't.
But they have pictures and stories of their family and different things
I
like
love that. It's memorable.
Yeah. When I went off to college, my mom gifted me this basically all things cookbook, house book, street smarts book. Like it was Where's Mom Now That I Need Her cookbook.
Oh, that's
and she
amazing.
had written notes, highlighted, put pictures of me and my brother and our family, like all throughout it. I still have it to this day.
wonderful.
And it makes it so much more meaningful when it's not
Cherish
just
it.
like the info, but it's it's the legacy. It's the
Yes.
memories that are woven in there
so
too.
good.
Absolutely.
That's beautiful.
Love it. So if you had one thing that you could leave listeners with,
Look in the camera
Okay.
and talk directly to the listeners.
empathically.
So I would say to all of you out there struggling to find your way in life or struggling to find the balance that you need to kind of bring more organization to your daily chaos, I would say the most important thing would be self-care. You need to take those moments for yourself to do something for yourself, whether it's, lying down and taking a 30-minute nap or asking somebody close to, maybe come in and help you for a few minutes, whether it's going to get a manicure or a pedicure or getting your hair done. Self-care is very important because it gives us, it renews us in a way to where we can give more back. And as women, I think for the most part, we like to give back. We like to be there for our families, but, we forget about ourselves.
Or nurturers.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have to take care of ourselves so we can take care of other people.
So good. So
Powerful. And I know what I'm telling my husband when I get home. I got to go self-care. I'm going to go take a nap. I need to get my nails done. Look, Amy told me this is the most important thing as a woman. That's amazing advice, though, for real.
He will benefit more if he
will.
does. Think about that. Think if he says, honey, why don't you go lie down and take a little nap? Like, how are you going to feel when you wake up? You're going to want to give more back to him.
Exactly.
That's what they need to understand that. Give us a little bit. That's all that we need is just a little bit.
Yeah.
And we're going to, give you, tenfold.
Yo, that's so true.
Yeah.
That is so true.
You are an incredible woman, Amy.
Thank
you
you.
so much for joining us.
Yes.
You have any other last thoughts, Kel?
No, I would love to know one. I don't know if you still have your Facebook page or whatever the page was that had those recipes, or is anybody who'd like to ask you about recipes or follow you on Instagram or something? How can they find
What are the
Amy
details?
O'Neill?
Okay, so on Facebook, it's Allergy Friendly Meals. You can message me there. You can message me on my personal page, which is Amy O'Neill, or the Law Office of James Hogan. You can find me there. Message me if you have any questions about nutrition, if you just need some advice about life, or, hey, can you help me through this chaos? Just message me. I'm here for you, and I definitely want to help build you up and be there as best I can.
That's great.
Awesome. Well, everybody, that is another episode. And we want to give a special shout out to the law offices of James Hogan, because not only do they have Amy being able to join us, but they've sponsored us shows in the past. They are an incredible arts partner here with us at CG Community Development. So shout out to them. They are phenomenal in the community. Yeah. And we hope that you liked to listen. And if you did, subscribe, go listen to a couple other conversations with. We are sitting down with really interesting people.
Yes, we are.
Including Amy. Thank you so much for joining us. So my name is Jeanette Brown. I was joined by Kelly Olive and Amy O'Neill, and we will see you next time.
Thanks for listening. Remember to rate, review, subscribe, and join us for the next episode.